Welcome, Dr. Adel ElMessiry. It is great to have you on the Leaders Who Care series. I've been waiting for this one for a while, so welcome.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Mark.
And you're looking, as I said, very cool, a little bit like Don Johnson, Miami Vice-ish type of thing. I think I like it.
Wait,
So,
I
um,
just came from the voting
oh,
booth.
good job. Good
Yeah.
job. We won't get into who and why and what, but good job. It's going to be fascinating day and fascinating days to come. But no matter what happens, it's up to us to, keep things moving forward, positive way. So always a good place to start is if you could briefly introduce yourself, but we'll get into all the business stuff and everything. Tell us who Dr. Adele is, where your family, where you're originally from, where you are now. Maybe even something you've never told anybody you wanted to reveal to the world now. That's kind of cool too. But please.
Yeah, so I was born in Alexandria, Egypt, to an academic family, and so I call myself an academic brat because my father used to take us across Europe for his students. So when he used supervising PhDs and so forth. And that's how I ended up growing across Europe. Did my undergrad between Alexandria and Stuttgart. And then along the way, I migrated to the US about 30 years ago, 30 some years ago. And I believed in the American dream. You can work as hard as you can or as little as you can, but you are in control of your destiny. So I like that, jived with me a lot. I did my master's in computer engineering at NC State, and then followed up with my PhD in computer science.
So
And
before you
I
get into all that, which we'll talk about, what about family?
family, I have a brother who I love dearly, and he's also in technology as well. So that is great to have conversations. And I have a beautiful wife and three kids. The oldest decided by her own volition to actually pursue her PhD in bilingual psychology. So
Well,
now I can get my dad off my back. It's like, hey, we have the sacrificial lamb here. Uh, and my middle kid, she is still pursuing her education. I think she is aspiring to become a lawyer. So we'll see how that goes. And my youngest is Adam. He's in middle school, eighth grader. My best friend. I really love him, and he's a little bit on the spectrum. So I got to see firsthand that whole other domain. So added to my understanding of how those kids go through what they go through and all the circumstances around that. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Been here for 25 years. I really love it. The only thing that I miss is being near an ocean. So Destin is like 7 hours away, so that makes up for it a little bit.
well, you can always
Um,
come visit because it's right over there.
you never know, I might just take you on it.
Anytime, man.
Yeah, sweet, sweet. Isn't like the Central Land and Bit Basil gonna happen in December there, right?
I believe so. No,
Sweet.
so any time, and you talk about your kids, and time goes fast because I have three boys and a bonus daughter from Denmark, and we should cherish every moment of it because it does go fast. But what were you like as a kid and then a teenager? Were you playing Lego? Were you taking things apart and rebuilding them? Did you have a lemonade stand? Sports, music? What were you like?
So virtually. So believe it or not, I was an introvert when I was growing up as a kid. I was more attracted to computers and programming because they don't talk back. So, and I started fairly early, kind of like, in my teen years, kind of like working software, building stuff. So your typical kind of like, geek trying to understand how that brave world gonna happen. And I got into AI in the late 80s. So a fun story there. I was studying chemistry and I'm lazy. So instead of focusing on studying chemistry, I actually wrote an AI application that recreates the chemical environment that I was studying. So this way I can ask it questions and it will do my homework for me. So course, I spend so much time in the app itself, more than it would have taken to answer the homework, but it's just the sheer joy of creating something new and figuring out how it works. So I like taking software apart and figuring out how it works, how it takes, and try to connect those virtual Lego parts together.
Yeah, and just to think, my hockey stick was my favorite friend. What was I doing, man? I should have been thinking of AI apps, but I was excited to get a calculator allowed in the exams at university and things like that.
Yeah.
Just to, so, but um, your journey, like you said, you got your master's in computer engineering at NC State. What were you envisioning then for yourself?
So back then, I was focused on how can we make autonomous agents work together. So it's kind of like, at that time, people were talking about different machines and how they can connect and how can we take mundane tasks and kind of like automate them and create a new economy using that. So you could say those were the early onsets of AI and blockchain and the internet. That time, internet was just bursting on the scene, so
Right.
it wasn't like a lot of like what we see today. You still went shopping at Sears and got your videos from Blockbuster. If you remember those, remember always to rewind before you turn it in. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's I kind of like wanted to make the world a better place with what I can do, like in terms of software. It's kind of like freeing up people to help each other, interact with each other, work more on things that matter for them rather than having to go through mundane stuff that, can be automated or helped with computers.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. Our firm was actually built on the premise that leaders in their organizations, whatever type of organization, can always do better when they're doing good. And obviously, you were an early leader in that, especially in what I would call the most impactful or personal sector of our living is healthcare. Were you
Yep.
always interested in healthcare? And we'll get into it more, but were you always interested in that?
Actually, not really. Healthcare was a coincidence. So it's kind of like you could sum it in like a series of fortunate accidents kind of thing that happened through my career. So I started looking more at it while I was finishing up my master's because there was a company in Raleigh, North Carolina that was focused on automated computer-based training, CBTs, in healthcare. So that was kind of like my first real dive into healthcare of like how we do that, why we do that. At that time, you used to have like actual classrooms in the hospitals, and people would go there, and the dream was, hey, we're gonna do all of that stuff online. But online did not really exist at that point. So the company was a pioneer in that aspect, and that's what got me into Nashville at that point in time. And then healthcare just started growing up on me because I don't know if you know it or not, but Nashville is the capital healthcare, or at least that's what we pride ourselves
Right.
at. HCA is here, Health Trust, which is the largest GPO in the US, I think globally as well, is here. And Oracle is moving their headquarters here as well. So in Nashville, you're either into healthcare or you are into music. And I can't sing to save my own life. So healthcare.
I found out years ago when they told me to maybe play a trumpet, so that would prevent me from singing. Um, so, hey, they say the fourth industrial revolution is about technology, all the things we're talking about, but the fifth is about humanity, some people say. Share about some of the experiences you were talking about. You mentioned health trust. I mean, you have experience in tech and engineering at
Yes.
HealthStream, but also you were at companies like InVivoLink and utilize health, etc. Can you talk about your experiences from certain things like taking a company from inception to acquisition, and also at the same time, while you were doing all that, why you thought and how you were making both an economic and social impact at the same time?
So, when I was kind of like, still, a newcomer, one of my mentors shared with me that in this country, in order for you to achieve something, you have to be a business owner. You have to create something new. So that kind of like really instilled in me the ability to try something new. And I was much younger then. So the concept was, hey, if I don't try it now, if I don't go for it and see if I can implement something. When will I start? So between Synquest, Health Stream, I got lucky with a first hand look at how do you take a company from inception, like just a group of startups that are trying to push something new to a mega company to being IPO'd and listed on the stock market. So that was an eye opener to see firsthand how the system works and how can you create something that is much greater. So today, health stream courses are all over in any healthcare organization. You probably took a course at health stream. So that's kind of like to me is like 25 years later, I see the impact of what has happened there.
Yeah.
Same thing with InvivoLink. InvivoLink was trying to create scheduling for orthopedics, surgeries, and so forth, because it's a big supply chain issue. And how would you register and schedule and make sure that all the parts are there, and then measure and track all of that stuff, because you can't really manage what you don't measure. So you had to have a measuring stick per se. Um, and then utilize health was more about how do we help the patient's journey through our healthcare system, because healthcare system is great at treating patients, but it's not great at creating an experience what you would get when you are going through a hotel or an experience. So utilize health focused on how do we take those patients and how do we provide support for them as they go. And funny thing is, by doing that, you actually improve the patient experience, reduce the patient cost, both to them and to the overall system. Health Trust was a unique experience because I was able of now getting at a much larger level, because Health Trust is a GPO, General Purchasing Organization, where you can see the leverage that you can do if you get not only one hospital system or two, but get a huge number of hospital systems, like billions of dollars of purchases. And together, that aggregate power not only gets you a better negotiating position for getting cheaper equipment and procurement, but also allows you to implement cost savings measures and life saving measures across the whole gamut of those. So that's kind of like when you are successful with those. But what I want to also share is when you start with it, that's a totally different story. So it's a dream, whether when we were trying at Health Stream to figure out, okay, we're gonna do those CBT courses and people who will take it. It was not the common prevalent thing that you would take it on a computer system.
Right.
You had classrooms. So having that vision that kept us working at it day and night made all the difference. So you have to buy into that vision. Same thing with InvivoLink. I still remember when I was sitting with my partner, the founder, Ryan Wells, and having lunch, and he's talking like, yeah, we're gonna create kiosks and we're gonna put those kiosks at the surgery room. It's like, wow, so we're going to create something that will be in the surgery room and will touch the patients as they go there. So that vision that got me kind of like, focused in it, and we will reduce errors, we'll reduce that, people will get better. That vision is what you buy into because it's really, really hard. So when you are going there every day, trying to push through, and there is no guarantees, no assurances. But if you are not driven by something that would help you along the way, you are more prone to giving up. 90% of startups don't make it, as you know. So
Yeah,
that 2% is driven by purpose, goal.
it's fascinating what you would say in two aspects, because we do work with a lot of startups, and a word we use a lot for people looking to join startups is you have to thrive in that environment, not just be in it. You got to thrive in it, and your spouse has to thrive in it, and everyone has to thrive in it because that's the only way you're going to make it through. And
Yes.
I've always been amazed at people being called visionaries. You can have like this pen and make it better, and that's a visionary. But to me, a visionary is amazing if you don't even know what a pen is, and
Yes.
you create it. And you talked about being driven together. You said you mentioned somewhere I saw that as a leader, I'm as good as my team,
Yes.
basically. And leaders who care, not to be cute, but this is about leaders who care. They understand that every individual has value and their well-being, which is financial, physical, and mental well-being, is important. And as Dan Buettner with the Blue Zones realized also, the thing that fills people's hearts and souls and makes them keep going no matter what is belonging. So can you share a little bit your leadership views around this and having the right fit mix of people? And as you said, teammates who, I think I'm quoting you here, believe in your mission and they take ownership and achieve it with you.
Yes. So my core belief is that I have to be a servant leader and lead by example. That means that my job is to serve my team, make sure that they are understand what they need to get done. They understand the vision, they buy into that vision, and then they have this goal and the relationship within the team is really, really important because humans relationships makes a big difference. So the team members need to be heard, recognized, and understood, even if we make a different decision. But this idea, like whenever somebody joins one of my teams, so I usually like talk with them, pick people that align with the rest of the team and align with the mission and what we are trying to do. And then afford them enough time to have this dialogue going back and forth to understand them, their background, what they're trying to achieve. It's not about I'm just hiring them to get me from point A to point B. It's also what are they trying to do in their life and try to align that. And every time when we were talking in meetings, the first rule is your opinion is as good as my opinion. So it's a safe place. You need to express your opinions unless there is a business directive that we need to get or a certain objective that we need to make. I will explain it for you, but then I want to benefit from it. See, you don't hire people that are less intelligent than you. You hire people that are more intelligent than you, that are
Yeah.
capable to help you push the mission. And by aligning them with you, by infecting them with your kind of like, objective and what you are trying to do, they will take on themselves. So you don't have to always kind of like manage and work with them on that. Rather, point the way why it's important and what we are trying to achieve there, and just look at what's going to happen from that. People will really step up.
Yeah, I do a lot of sports analogies, and you could be a sports coach using that same mentality. And maybe you should run for election because I think we need more of that, what you just talked about. Um, because people do just want to belong. I interviewed a CEO, it's over a year now, and he told me once, he said, I'm having the best time being a CEO because I can actually be emotional. I have lots of time now to listen to people and be vulnerable and not pretend that I know everything. And I've found that by trusting my people, the best people came, the cream came to the top basically, and they really got things done, and they loved it more because
Yes.
I did do that. So you're right on the money. Moving along a little bit, segue there, but the same thing. You talked about how you earned your PhD in computer science, NLP, ML. Now this lands us here at the exciting work you're currently doing at AlphaFin, and where the vision is, and I'm going to read it, to create an ecosystem of innovative, new wave, decentralized financial systems collaborating to achieve better inclusion and access for the entire global economy. Can you talk with us about the current state of decentralized blockchain powered finance, about Bitcoin, and how AI fits in it, and what is the future? I'm not asking you for much, but what does the future look like ahead, especially around including our healthcare?
Yep. So let me take you a step back first.
Yeah.
So when I was doing my PhD, I was also researching an area called trust networks, and trust networks became blockchain. So my life got flipped upside down at that point in time, and like I said, it's a series of fortunate coincidence.
Not
So
accident.
yes, not accident, coincidence. So I got to be at the birthplace of a lot of chains, a lot of platforms, and been in the blockchain journey from the beginning almost of it. And that allowed me to see blockchain a little bit differently. So, in my view, when you are looking at the internet as it's growing, so the internet 1.0 was a billboard. If you remember the old days, 92 to 96-ish kind of thing, you basically post information on it one way. But then internet or web 2.0 was a bidirectional way that allowed users to create accounts, to interact, to do orders, all that stuff. So it ushered in this new layer of economy that sits on top of it, like Amazon, Netflix, and on and on, even Uber and so forth. Now, in what that did is it increased the efficiency, meaning that your financial capital cycle is much shorter. So your money goes much faster in it, which allowed vendors and service providers to provide the services at a lower margin. So why? Because you can provide more services, you make up a bigger profit at the end of the year, even with lower margins that happen. The second thing that it allowed for is leveling the playing field.
Hmm.
So before Web 2.0, you needed to open a physical location, physical store in each geographic location. But nowadays, you could be in the middle of nowhere and open your own store and start selling. So your markets are opened, your TAM is much bigger, accessibility is much bigger. So somebody that could be living in Egypt can create something that is fantastic and get on the world economy. I still remember one of the email services that was bought by like millions of dollars. Uh, and who thought that? The only thing that is missing in Web 2 is that whenever you are dealing with value, with assets, you had to go outside the Web 2.0. So you go either to the banking system or to the registrars, all of the stuff. So you're dealing with the physical world. That slowed things down and make it harder to run faster with the system. And that's where blockchain comes along. So blockchain, which was originally invented, and I had discussions with Professor Scott Sornetta, who basically created the basis of blockchain before Bitcoin and all that stuff, is to create an immutable digital file system. And that basically turned into blockchain. See, the difference between blockchain and digital assets originally is that if I take a picture of a dollar, I can send it to everybody. So if I have this $100, okay, so I can take a picture, send it to everybody, and I've just double, triple spent it. However, if I turn it into a digital asset on the blockchain, I can only spend it once, meaning that now we have an actual asset that can be owned, can be transferred, can be transacted on, alongside with all the benefits of having uh, scripts and contracts that allow people to dictate how the money cycle will go and what it can do and what it cannot do. Now, add that mix into the play. Now you have Web 3.0, which allows for the value to be transacted on chain. So then you get another multiplier of the speed of what happens. You can trade things 24/7. You can create incentivized systems. You can have fractionalized ownership and so on and so forth. So that is what we are seeing right now is that blockchain is changing the infrastructure of the digital asset, the new digital economy, digital asset economy that we're gonna see. And that also will open up. So a lot of remittance is being done on blockchain. A country like Nigeria has been adopting a lot of transactions using blockchain and Bitcoin and others. If you look at El Salvador, so all of that goes back into like that leveling of the playing field, including charities and impact and doing good. Because now, if I wanted to donate $10 to a charity in Nigeria, the old system, I need to pay $45 to do wire transfer, or at least 4 or 5% if I'm doing it with Visa or something like that.
Right.
But with blockchain, it takes minutes and it's like pennies to do that. So now you can do more impact and grow it globally. So once we arrive to that point, now we have AI. AI, and by the way, I wanna, and I don't know how much time you have, but I can speak for hours about that topic.
I know. Well, you know, in LA, we always say, leave them wanting more so we can do a sequel. So,
Yes, yes. So, so the sequel in a world controlled by AI.
right,
How
okay. You got it.
So AI comes into the scene, and AI is not what we know right now. AI started way earlier, 50s, 60s. We had simpler systems that do decision making, predictions, all of the stuff. What made it surface into the mainstream is for the very first time a few years ago with ChatGPT and others, AI was able of replying to you with normal English. So not kind of like predicting a number or giving you a graph. It actually can speak back to you.
Right,
And underneath all of that stuff, it's not understanding anything. So what I want to delineate here is AI is not consent. It does not understand. It basically tries to take what you are giving it as an input and predict based on the billions and billions of similar text that it has seen what would be the next logical, probable reply. But that turned out to be on predominantly on the point. So now it's able of giving you the information and pretending, mimicking what humans would understand, but it's not understanding it. And when you put that on top of a Web3 to create Web 4.0 in my kind of like, understanding, now you have the bidirectional web, the ability to transact on value and assets, and now human-like mimicked understanding, artificial understanding that can execute on your behalf for things that you need. So when you put it all together, what does that mean? Does it mean we'll lose jobs? Of course, we'll lose jobs. We lose jobs when we invented the car.
right.
We lose jobs when we invented the refrigerator. Before, you had to have somebody go haul ice to you, and then you pay them for doing that. Now you have a refrigerator. But if you ask an ice maker, would they rather be doing ice today or doing a better paying job? Of course, they do a better paying job.
Yep.
So to me, technology, whether it is AI, steam engine, automated loom machines, whatever, it actually helps extend our capabilities. Previously, it was physical capabilities like walking faster, lifting heavy stuff.
Right.
Now it's also in performing cognizant, intellectual tasks that are helping us, kind of like a calculator on steroids in that aspect. So we will evolve as humanity, not to focus on mundane, trivial things like, hey, look at my schedule and your schedule and book some time. It knows. And by the way, we want to go to lunch. It knows I like sushi. You like, Indian. So maybe we can find a restaurant that serves both for us. So stuff like that, that will start happening more and more in the system. And because it has access to Web3, where you can transact on values, you will see more and more of those AIs actually doing financial transactions on your behalf. If you are looking to buy a car and you know which car you would like, and it knows your current car, your current financials, it might come across a deal that you haven't been looking at it and finishing that for you. It's like, hey, I reserved that for you because it's great. Here you can go there. Another thing is you booked a ticket and the AI agent companion you're talking with them about, I want to do this, I want to do that, and they come back and say like, hey, I found another route that is easier, just came on. So you don't have to sit there, look for it every day, and try to do all those different steps. The AI will do it for you. And take that expanded now to autonomous automobiles, where you basically have transportation services. So you buy into a car that would lift you somewhere, but the car can go and make money for you, like what Elon is trying to do. Things like Twin Protocol is doing twins from you that can benefit from your knowledge. So you can ask them, and they will give the same answer like I would give. Angel Twin is doing financial AI, where they basically can have an AI companion that will go and figure out your retirement plans, your spending, your different opportunities, and so forth and so on, which frees us humans to focus on things that are our calling, like things that we can help each other, like we can create a better future, like focus on creative arts, creative aspects, new things that we could not do, we could not get to because we had to go through all that, mundane stuff.
Yeah, I find it very, very interesting because initially technology said it would do that, but it really didn't. But now it will end up doing that and do things that hopefully allow us to do more creative things. And in fact, even as simple as, eliminating middlemen that allow people to be in there, allow a Nigerian lady who's selling coffee beans or whatnot to be in her own business and get microfinancing because there's no middleman, there, and they actually have their own business, to maybe even a young kid not just having a teddy bear, but having a teddy bear that has AI in it that is their buddy, talking to them and
Yep.
being their buddy rather than just a teddy bear that they hug. Now we could hug and talk to it at the same time,
Yep.
um, and things like that. I think I've been looking for the next panel to do, and I think it's going to be AI and blockchain and the world type of thing, because there's going to be so much change in workforce, and I think how corporates handle that will be a big play also. So I'm going to put that teaser out, and right after this call, we're going to create a panel to talk about this,
Yep.
and the impact it has on healthcare, our most personal sector in the sense of who we are, and how that's going to be impacted too. I do want to answer one question more, and it relates to the last 4 years of where we've been at and where we're going. 2020 was an impactful year with the pandemic and everything, and maybe that was Mother Nature's way of slapping us in the head and saying, "Do you get it yet? What's going on?" And what I'm trying to tell you guys, we're already at the end of 2024 now. With all that happened and happening, what are you most grateful for, and what are you most hopeful for?
I'm most grateful for my family. So that's what gives me the drive to do what I'm doing. I want to create a better world for them, and I couldn't do that without having a supporting family that helps me on my way. Whether it is like nice times or hard times, they are always there for me because they are legally required. But but
Well, that's
that's
good. I'm sure that, well, I hope they watch this video later.
I'm very grateful for a lot of the things that we enjoy, especially in the USA, where we take it for granted. But I lived across the globe, so I know firsthand how lucky we are here and how special this is to have all the services around you, that everything works, and you have your freedoms, your choices, your capability to do what you want to do and to grow and upward mobility. All of the stuff is really, really precious. That I always want to help preserve that and grow that and help bring the rest of the globe to that. We as a human race have a huge potential that we can really flourish and not only be bound to this planet, but like Elon Musk says that, like, hey, we need to be inter space species where Mars is just the footsteps. But if we put our minds together and kind of like have this mentality of abundance instead of mentality of scarcity. Back in the 50s, I think, or something like that, there was a big scare that we will not be able of producing enough to sustain the global population. But then the human ingenuity allowed us to create better yields and bigger ways of producing food. And look at us now, we've almost 7 billion now. So I think that if we put our heads together and open our hearts to each other, we'll be able of creating things beyond what we think possible. That's being human.
Well, that's a good way to conclude this part. And that's what a leader who cares does, basically, is care about all that. Thank you for sharing some of your experiences. Stay tuned for the sequel and for being on the Leaders Who Care series.
Thank you.